Ladies and gentlemen, you might have heard the news. The US military has conducted a daring and successful combat search and rescue operation and saved the second pilot that was lost in Iran. So now I've done a detailed study across all news sources and compiled a sequence of events of what actually happened. And I think after this event, there will be implications to the financial market and the oil market. So let's watch on to know what exactly happened, and more importantly, what's the implication to the stock market and the oil market. So this is one of the most dramatic combat search and rescue mission in US history. To set the stage, there were a lot of combat and rescue search and rescue operation that the Americans military has done, but some of them were successful, some of them end up as disaster. So this is a mission that was conducted successfully and involves a huge scale of operation. And I think there will be implications ultimately to the war outcome from here, and more importantly to the oil market and the financial market. So remember to hit subscribe because things are unfolding by the day, by the hour. So let's keep in touch with this channel so that I bring you the best and latest news. So the incident started when an F-15 Strike Eagle was shot down by the Iranians. Allegedly, the Iranians used a primitive Chinese technology based on infrared and tracked the F-15 Strike Eagle and shot it down. Modern technology could not track or could not hunt down the Strike Eagle, but the Chinese allegedly gave them a very more old-fashioned technology that the Strike Eagle was not accustomed to. So regardless whether it is true or not, the F-15 Strike Eagle was being struck down, and that sent the Iranians media into a frenzy and joy. But they realized that the two pilots bailed out and they were all going out for the two pilots. So let's talk about pilot one. The pilot itself was called Rescue One. So after the plane was being shot down, the pilot was first to be rescued. Let's call this Rescue One. His rescue was being done on Friday, April the 4th. So after the plane was shot down, both the weapons specialist and the pilot bailed out. And two helicopters came very quickly to rescue the pilot. And the helicopters came under fire, small arms fire by the Iranians. And one of them was hit. Some crew members of the helicopter apparently was injured, but eventually they managed to rescue the pilot and flown out and land back into their base. One US aircraft, they call it the A-10 Warhawk, that provided close air support, was also hit allegedly by a shoulder-mounted surface-to-air missile, and it hit the A-10 Warhawk. The pilot managed to fly the A-10 Warhawk into the Persian Gulf and probably crashed in the sea, but he bailed out and he was also rescued. So in Rescue One, there were injuries, but there were no deaths. So that was Rescue One, but the weapons specialist was missing. So the weapons specialist, by the way, he's a full colonel, very experienced in survival, evasion, resistant escape techniques. He quickly moved away from the wreckage, climbed up to a 7,000 feet mountain ridge, very, very high. And he concealed himself into a crevice. That means a crack in the mountain. He has got a pistol, an emergency beacon, and encrypted radio. He is well trained, and he probably sent out the signal to mothership, and hopefully they will come and rescue him. The Iranians knew that a weapons specialist is now in their land, and they all went all out to hunt for him. First, the media reported that there's a 60,000 reward for his capture. So the Iranian state called for civilians, police, military, all go and hunt for him. So there's a 60,000 reward. So everybody went all out to hunt for him. And a couple of times there were some fake reports or false report thought that he was being captured, but he was not. So this is where things were very tense in this early part of the 36 hours. The CIA, interestingly, was heavily involved in this operation. They conducted a very successful deception campaign. So what they did was they first sent out false information that the US has already located weapons specialists and they are already moving him from a place to another. So that kind of disinformation sent the Iranians troops into wrong places, and that caused them a lot of confusion. While meantime, they provided real-time information back to the White House, to the Pentagon. So all these things will happen on the fly, and eventually they finally decided this is the moment to come in and rescue the weapons specialists. So how did it happen? Well, two C-130 landed on probably a secluded or abandoned airstrip in Iran. The C-130 is a very huge plane. The Singapore military have them as well. I'm sure the Malaysian military have them. And they landed, and I was told that hundreds of commandos were involved in this operation, and they were the infamous SEAL Team 6 from the Navy. So the commandos closed in on the weapons specialist position, and so did the Iranian soldiers. So this is where they're all racing towards the weapons specialist. And fortunately, the air support by the Americans bomb and strafe all the approaching military vehicles by the Iranians. So you imagine that the enemies were all coming in, the Americans went ba 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 boom 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 boom. All the convoys were being destroyed, and the Iranians put up a good fight. The helicopters that were involved in the rescue operations took quite a lot of small arm fire, and I was also told by the media that the Iranians' casualties were very high. I would imagine that. Now, how do we know that? Well, the provincial hospital issued blood donation appeal. The Iranian state media also confirmed mass casualties in the province. So obviously there was a lot of casualties by the Iranian side. Well, the extraction was done successfully under fire, and the weapons specialist was eventually being extricated. They all landed in Kuwait in a hospital. They're all under treatment right now. So remember I told you there were two C-130 that landed in the forsaken or secluded airstrip. Well, they got stuck in the sand. They could not take off. So a decision was made to blow up this C-130, and subsequently 3 replacement aircraft immediately were launched and landed and recovered everybody, including the weapons specialists. So all of them are now safe and in Kuwait for medical treatment. So despite the loss of 2 aircraft to self-destruction, the US side has no deaths, no fatalities. So this is by definition a very successful operation. So of course, Donald Trump took the opportunity to quickly announce to the whole world, we got him, my fellow Americans. Over the past several hours, the US military has conducted one of the most daring search and rescue operations in US history. I'm thrilled to tell you that he is safe and sound. So this will really set the stage of what he's going to do next. Donald Trump right now must be thinking, after a trauma over 36 hours, what will he be thinking about? So will this incident wake him up? Now, he can wake him up in 3 different ways, and I'll walk you through what are the 3 possible scenarios, because this thing will cause him some reflections, and all these 3 outcomes will have different directions for the financial market. So these are possibly his scenarios he's thinking of. Number 1 is what I think is the base case. After this incident, let's continue bombing, okay? Shoot from afar, be more careful. I don't want any loss of planes, helicopters, or anything. I just continue to shoot, bomb, 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 bomb them back to the Stone Ages, which he won. So Iran most likely would have to suffer those bombing, but in retaliation, they will strike the Gulf countries, energy infrastructure, desalination plant, gas infrastructure, oil infrastructure, and many other places. And there'll be non-stop bombing on both sides. I hit you, you hit me, I hit you, you hit me. And just more and more sustained damages in the Gulf countries, and the Straits of Hormuz will remain closed for a prolonged period. Oil prices will shoot up to $150 to $200, even to the point of time when the whole war is over, the Straits of Hormuz is cleared. I can guarantee you there'll be a lot less oil being produced because of all the damages for a sustained period of time. So this is what I think is the base case. Well, there could be an escalation case that Trump, after seeing this, since I already got boots on the ground, this whole operation involved a lot of soldiers on the ground. Since I already have boots on the ground, might as well have more boots on the ground. Just liberate the whole Straits of Hormuz. If necessary, push the Iranians far deeper in and things like that. Well, I don't know whether that will happen with high probability, but Trump is a very unpredictable person. And really, whether that will have good or bad outcome will depend on how successful he is in pushing the Iranians more inland to free up the Straits of Hormuz. It's high risk, potentially a lot more casualties. I don't think he liked this outcome, but maybe he would have thought that since I already got boots on the ground in this operation, might as well continue to have more boots on the ground. So that must be a scenario B that he's thinking of. Scenario C is, he got a trauma out of this incident. He has 2 sleepless nights, having the weapons specialist officer, being lost a few planes. Just this thing, maybe he has this fear right now. He says, okay, let's negotiate. I'll give in a lot to Iran. Maybe not the full 14 or 15 points that he wants, but let's come to a middle ground. Let's talk right now and things like that. So if that will happen, there will be a major relief to the oil market, and things will become more calmer and so on. And the Iranians hopefully will come to talking position on the table and somehow come to agreement. Well, I'll just say that this chance of that in the near future is low unless Trump gives in a lot. So what could be the outcome will really determine the direction of the oil prices, and as a result, the stock market as well. So these are developing outcomes. It's very difficult to tell where it will go. So therefore, watch the development very closely and stay in tune with us. Hit subscribe. I now not just release a video in a day and a live stream at night. I also release short videos to help you stay in touch. So let's monitor the situation and see whether the situation will prolong or worsen or improve. I'll see you tonight in the live stream.